Good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 27th day of August 2020. Well, it's a Thursday. We have Jupiter energy, but it's retrograde, so do some inner work today. Reevaluate your perceptions and about things. If things don't seem to make sense to you, well, maybe you've either gotten to a point where you're just maybe considering things another way, and so have the courage to do that. And sometimes change is hard, but sometimes you just can't do anything else, but make a change. So allow that inner expansion to help you today to kind of move forward, maybe on a better path. So we have a 9 energy today, so we're looking at the energy of completion. Again, maybe you've just reached a point in your life where you're ready to maybe think another way about things, and so consider other stuff instead of what you normally think about. So perception's everything, really. So allow your ego to be transmuted by spirit today, and allow that expansive Jupiter energy to create benevolence and foster love and harmony with others. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And if you come back, thank you. This is the 4th day we do this. I only do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. So it's the last day for this week. So we'll try to make it a reading that covers the rest of the week for you. But any of them that we do during the week can influence how things are for you on a given day. So, they're not really specific. I like to do things very generally here, and to give people the most opportunity to have it really apply to what's going on in their lives. So if I get a little specific, know that you don't have to. So let me move my mouse out of the way here. So I've got a table to work on. Gosh, how many mice do I have here? I've got 2. I guess I took the other one out. It's a mouse convention. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards. Now, if you haven't been here before, I'm going to take them randomly. I'll take the 13th one each time. If we need more, we'll take them. But if not, we'll move on to a rune from the Elder Futhark bag. And we'll close out then with a geomancy rune to sort of tie it all together. Or find the underlying energies at work. So let's go ahead and take our first card. Smoke is still everywhere. It's not so bad in the early morning, and then late at night it usually gets better, but during the day we just get socked in with it. Wasn't as bad yesterday as it has been, but then toward the afternoon it got bad again. So I don't know. We have the 8 of Swords. 8 is about leadership, practical matters, a greater awareness, of a greater harmony with others. But here, she's taking her own counsel, basically. She's turning her back to, all of the, either her own thoughts or the perceptions of others. And she needs to make a decision here and needs to set a path forward for herself. But she can't do it with all of the noise, behind her, interfering with her own thought processes. But we'll talk about that. We'll see what else we draw here, because it could be this is just one component of something else that's happening. So it may not be the first card we do. We may move them around here. Well, we have the 6 of Swords, and we haven't had that one in a while. Can either be interpreted as a journey over water or, again, a change in perception. So we'll leave it as we'll begin with the 8. We'll continue with the 6 so far, anyway. But it looks like maybe the 6 might be a result of the 8 here. And Swords is the air element. So again, intellect, reason, balance, justice, fairness, awareness, truth. When I see the 8 of Swords, it tells me there's a lot of lying going on, and you just need to shut everything out and figure out what's going on. Well, it's a swords extravaganza. Been a while since we've done that. We have the 9 of Swords. So we have a 6, an 8, and a 9, but I think we're going to start with, we're going to start with the 9. So we're going to go in a sort of a decreasing order here, a 9, an 8, and then a 6. I'm going to go ahead and get out my notes on this because I want to be sure here. Okay, here's the thing about the 9. You see there's a pattern there. Sometimes when we see swords, they're all in disarray, okay? Sometimes they're straight up and down, sometimes they're kind of angled. So I think that the pattern that they create in the card actually defines a lot of what's going on here. This is about nightmares. It's the stuff of nightmares. It's grief. But you see the pattern here on the quilt. You see these are also arranged in order and in a pattern. They're connected together. So the person understands in this card understands that their thoughts have taken them to a place. It's easy to say, oh, and blame other people for all of this, for how we feel about things and how we see things. Well, it's because of all of this. Well, no, actually, you might be responding to something, but it's you doing the responding. So we have to remember that the thought process, no matter what's going on, our responses begin with us. Okay? And so if we have, this could be illusion, ego, regret, negative self-talk, and it's just, this person has just had enough. Okay? They're holding their head. They've had enough. It's just all too much now. So they get it in order and they're getting ready to let it go. All right? You look at the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups is letting things go. Well, here we have the 8 of Swords, which in a sense, she's all bound up. A lot of catalytic energy going on there. The sand is all soppy and red and maybe a battle has gone on, maybe either in her own mind or interactions with others or what have you. But now she feels bound by her perceptions and she's getting ready to let them go. All right. She's got them all behind her, just in the same way that we're doing here in the 9. But, I think that whatever's happening here leads her to this place where she's blindfolded and bound. And you could put this, as the first one, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like we need to start with the 9, where the realization has happened. And it's like, I can't go on any longer. And so now all of the self-talk, all of the perception, all of the stuff coming in, that comes in from our head, from our mind, she's going to blindfold herself from all of it. It still surrounds her, but she can't look at it anymore. They're just not serving her well. And in the end, she makes the decision to go and to pursue a new path. She's taking with her some things, some perceptions, but, you see them huddled against the cold. It's just a young family here. And it looks like the father is pushing them on to a new direction. When we think a journey over water, we're thinking a journey through our emotional presence, really. We could even say, given that it's the 6, it's the representation of the higher self, that you're allowing ego to be transmuted into spirit today. I hate to take one more card, but I'm going to, just to see. Maybe we can get a source. I mean, obviously the mind is the source, but there could be something else that they're thinking about, that this is all about. But I really think that this represents a change in perception. And I think in a big way, allowing, the ego to transmute into spirit, which doesn't mean that you get down in the muck with the ego, but that you just let spirit decide, the path forward. And I think clearly in the 6, that's what's happening here. I mean, could there be an easier reading here? Well, it has to do with our foundation. We have the Knight of Pentacles on his majestic workhorse there. I love the horse in this one. He's not in battle. He's offering a new foundation, though, isn't he? You see he's sort of holding the coin out and offering a new way forward. Pentacles is the earth element. It's about everything in our physical lives, in everything, our health, our work, our home, our family, our tradition, our legacy, the Akashic record. All of it has to do with the earth element and just how we manifest into form and what that form looks like, basically. And clearly our perceptions have driven us a little bit kooky, and now we've just decided, this can no longer stand. I have to go in a different direction here now. Maybe you're looking at everything that's going on in the world and being horrified by it. And if you were ever confused at all about what that's about, maybe clarity has returned and you understand now what's really happening here. And so whatever confusion you might have had has now given way to clarity, and you've made the decision to let higher self guide you. The conflict is over. You don't see a lot of, you really don't see well, it almost looks like they're going through through icy waters there, but down here you can see the water. And you can just see the wake there that they're moving through. So you see the stillness of spirit, basically, propelling this family onward into new experiences that are going to give them more structure. The Knight is about the quest. And so the quest has to do with redefining who we are within this bigger physical structure in which we live, and how our perceptions color all of that, and send us in directions that either are going to be useful or not, right? Let's take a look at the rune, though. I just let the runes, fall through my fingers, and I don't look. I don't look at it. And then I just pull it out, and that's what it is. It's how I do my bind runes too. I set the intention, and then I start pulling runes, and it's always the right thing. I don't know. It's always the right thing. But here we have Thurzaz. Looks like a thorn. In fact, that's what it means, the thorn. It's Thor's rune. Thurzaz is about breaking through obstacles, but frankly, the majority of the obstacles that we have in life have to do with our perceptions. And so here we've put them in order. We've broken through, haven't we? We now understand. It's like, okay, I've taken myself there. It's like empaths. If you're not sure if your mood that you're in is yours or someone else's that you happen to be picking up on, because we pick up on other people's energies and other people's emotions, and pretty soon we start absorbing them if we're not careful. And suddenly we're upset about something. It's like, God, how'd I get there? Well, if your own thought processes didn't take you there, then because you're thinking about something that's upsetting to you, if you didn't do that to yourself, you're picking up on somebody else's stuff, right? That's just one way to figure it out. Just say, okay, was I just thinking about this, or why did this enter my head? Why am I suddenly, because it didn't take me a while to get here. It's like suddenly, I'm really nervous or upset about, and I don't even know why. Well, you're picking up on someone else's energy. But the thing about Thurzaz, Thurzaz is the third rune of the Elder Futhark, and so as a 3 energy, it's already going to be catalytic anyway. But if you think of it as Thor's rune, you're talking, it's good for weather magic, but mostly it's good to understand it's the type of energy you use to understand what it is you're doing to block your own process, and what are you going to do to fix it. How are you going to catalyze this moment of confusion into awareness, basically? And so you use the energy of Thurzaz to break through all of the perceptions that are no longer serving and let them go. Put them in order. Get rid of them. Use the air element. Put them in order. That's what air does. But here you've got massive change that's possible with Thurzaz, and so. Allow that transformation to take hold, because it's going to affect not only your perceptions, but the world around you. Your home, your work, your community. change how you see all of it, and allow something better to take hold here today. Well, I don't know if this is Tristitia or Laetitia. It's Tristitia. So Tristitia is about loss. It's about sadness. It's about grief. And I think that, our perceptions can sure take us there, can't they? They can leave us feeling isolated from others. And I think that what Thurisaz is trying to suggest is that we take that energy of stuckness, basically, in the loss of things or in the negativity of things, in the decrease of things, and move it into something, again, transmuting ego, because that's usually what's ego-based, into spirit, into a higher level of resonance or frequency or vibration that brings benevolence into the whole mix, instead of seeing things of, it's kind of the difference between either or thinking, and which tends to be more service to self, and being able to see the shades of gray in between, and understand that there's sometimes more than two options here. It's seeing people as the other side of self versus seeing them as the other. And I think that perceptions have brought us to the point now, and the circumstances surrounding all of how our perceptions manifest into form. Now we see it. It doesn't look so good when we see a cop grabbing onto some guy and shooting him 7 times in the back in front of his children, right? So whatever perceptions led to this kind of behavior, we're seeing this is horrible. If we didn't know it, well, we do now. If we didn't understand the full impact of this, if we didn't understand how broad it's happening in the world, how much it's happening in the world, if we didn't know that, we do now. So it's time to take your measure of who you are as a person and make your decisions accordingly. Change your perceptions about this if you're confused at all. But this kind of stuff is not okay. Having a president who runs amok and thinks of all of this, the taxpayer dollars, as his own to use as he pleases. No. To turn the White House into something that it was never designed to be. It's the people's house. It's not his. He's just an occupant. He's the current occupant. That's it, right? We have to change how we see all of this. If it's something happening in your personal life that has nothing to do with, what we're all involved in together, then clearly there's something about how you see things that's not serving you well, and it needs to shift. And when it does, you might see solutions open up for you today. So let that process happen. That's something that's, pretty well long term, so hopefully it'll carry you through the weekend until Monday. So since I'm losing my voice anyway, the effects of the smoke, it's not just California. It was coming in from the north, so these are fires here in Oregon that were really impacting us yesterday. So I'm glad it's not in our right here in our area. We had one not too long ago, but it got put out right away. It was up in the next town over, just before you go into it, just there at the beginning there. And it was just something that happened, and they put it out, but they had to evacuate. It was like a level 3 go order. They had to get everybody out right then. Where there's junipers here, and they're all combustible. I don't care if they're alive or not. They're all combustible, and probably worse when they're alive because of the juniper oil in them. But they're very explosive, and when we live amongst it, well, it's a risk. So anyway, again, we also have a hurricane hitting today, and so I haven't looked to see. It came in last night, so I'm sure, excuse me, that there's all kinds of things happening there that we need to be mindful of today, and obviously the effect of it won't be known for a little while, but we'll start to see. And when you see everything underwater, so. This is just an awful time for people right now. The challenges that we face, we have to face them together, because If we don't, we're not going to survive it. You know, between the pandemic and now the hurricanes, it's supposed to be a really interesting hurricane season, pretty active. So this is the last thing we need right now. So whatever we can all do to keep everybody safe by wearing a mask if we're out and about. My husband read a thing where it's looking like the 6 foot distance isn't really enough. And I mean, you know, I've been saying that the whole time. It's like, no. And it doesn't matter if you're inside or out, wear a mask. This business of, oh, we're outside, we're safe. No, we're not. No, we're not. Come on, think about it. Your breath goes out. What? It's only dangerous if you're in an enclosed space? The breath still goes out. Wind takes it, breeze takes it, the air takes it where it wants to go. So maybe 6 feet aren't enough. And when you're outside, maybe you still need to have a mask on anyway. We wear them. I don't care where we are. The masks are on. So now that we've got people having to you know, cohabitate here in emergency shelters together, you know, or they're going to other people's homes and staying or whatever, be aware. We're still in a quarantine here, and we need to make sure that that's not a factor in having to cope with whatever the fallout is from this hurricane. You see what I'm saying? So again, change perceptions. See it differently. Move always here from a standpoint of safety and protection of others. And contribute to the success of all of this, to a successful outcome, instead of delaying that from happening by the choices that you make to not wear a mask around people. I swear, this has been the dumbest thing I've ever seen, so I don't know. Hopefully you all feel the same way. But use Thursday today to break through the obstacles of your own perceptions and allow something new to take hold if you're confused at all. So, anyhow, I guess that's it. We'll see you on Monday. Check into the, and watch for the esoteric influences, though, to pop up every day. And, you know, have a good day, have a good weekend, as best you can, especially if you're coping with, if you're down south where all this is happening, and the folks in California. I don't even know what to say. It's just enormous, isn't it? It's just enormous. Anyway, be good to yourself, be good to one another. Again, wear a mask if you're around anyone, and blessed be.